aboard the Imperial Dreadnought Eternal Dominion. You could murder your superior officer in cold blood. You could accidentally trigger the self-destruct mechanism in the cafeteria, and you could even express mildly disloyal thoughts about the Galactic Emperor's taste in capes. But under no circumstances were you to approach the cell of the alien cat. The alien cat had been imprisoned for precisely 3,821 years, and this was, in itself, an administrative nightmare. The Eternal Dominion had been built around its containment unit, and over the centuries, layer after layer of redundant security had been added by engineers who, while not entirely sure why the cat was there, understood that it was a very bad idea to let it out. Unfortunately, none of those engineers had accounted for bureaucratic incompetence, and so it came to be that Lieutenant Gregor Vasquez, the unluckiest man in the 17th Imperial Fleet, stood before the cell of the alien cat, sentenced to feed it. Gregor had really only made one mistake, and that mistake was not realizing that the Emperor's third cousin, twice removed, had been standing directly behind him at the officers' banquet when he had made a deeply unflattering comparison between the Emperor's new edict on taxation and the digestive habits of a Zarnak swamp slug. By the time he'd finished his second drink, he'd been condemned to a duty most perilous, yet befitting of his station. He had assumed that meant being thrown into a sun. He had been wrong. Instead, he now stood in a cold, metallic chamber, his boots uncomfortably silent against the sterile floor. Before him loomed an enormous containment field, pulsating with enough energy to vaporize a small moon. Inside it sat something that should not have been. It was a cat, technically enormous, fluffy, the color of warm sand and imperial regret. It had the deeply unimpressed expression of something that had seen the universe unfold, had judged it, and had found it lacking. A mechanical harness adorned its absurdly massive frame, pulsing with arcane technology that no living scientist could fully comprehend. Its glowing chest piece hummed ominously, like a singularity deciding whether or not it was in the mood to devour a planet. Gregor stared. The cat stared back. "I suppose," Gregor said slowly, "that you're expecting food." The cat blinked, which was honestly the most terrifying thing Gregor had ever seen. He cleared his throat. "Right. So I have a ration pack here, chicken paste, I think, or something that was, at some point, legally required to be called chicken." He held it up hesitantly. The cat did not move. Gregor exhaled. "Okay, let's just get this over with." With extreme caution, he approached the containment field. A small section flickered and opened, a ridiculous oversight in security protocol. But then, bureaucrats had long since stopped asking why they were keeping the cat here. They just knew it had to stay. He stepped inside. The moment his boot crossed the threshold, a deep vibration filled the air. Not sound, not exactly, more like the universe itself, clearing its throat in warning. Gregor turned his head slowly. The cat was standing now. It had not moved. It had simply decided to be standing. "I don't suppose," Gregor said carefully, "that we could work out some kind of arrangement. I give you food. You don't annihilate me." The cat stared at him with eyes like twin collapsed stars. Gregor felt something move in his skull. "Oh," he whispered, "that's not ideal." No one aboard the Eternal Dominion knew exactly what the alien cat was. They had theories, of course, that it was some kind of extra-dimensional warlord, imprisoned before it could consume the fabric of space-time, that it was a fragment of an elder intelligence, bound in a vessel both absurd and horrifying, that it had simply, through means unknown, always been. The truth was, in many ways, worse. The truth was that the cat was bored, and after 3,121 years, it had finally found something interesting. Gregor Vasquez was not, in any conventional sense, interesting. He was an average man, with average ambitions and an unfortunate knack for speaking before thinking. His military career was unremarkable, his tactical ability passable, his ability to make small talk deeply regrettable. But in that moment, as he stood before an entity that had watched galaxies rise and fall, that had been caged by empires long forgotten, he did something no one else had done in millennia. He reached into his ration pack and he pulled out a laser pointer. The cat's pupils dilated into black voids of endless hunger. Gregor flicked the tiny red dot across the metal floor. There was a stillness in the chamber, a moment suspended in time. And then, impossibly, inexorably, terrifyingly, the cat pounced. The Eternal Dominion shuddered. Klaxons blared. 100 officers turned in confusion as the ship lurched violently to the left, throwing personnel into walls and sending entire trays of nutrient cubes flying. Deep in the command deck, Admiral Perovich frowned at his readouts. "Status report," he barked. A lieutenant scrambled to her console. "Sir, we just experienced a mass energy fluctuation in..." She paused, staring at the screen. "Containment chamber B," Perovich paled. "You don't mean the cat, sir?" The bridge fell silent. Then, in the distance, a sound echoed through the ship. A sound no one had heard in 3,121 years. The sound of an eldritch, universe-defying, omnipotent entity purring. Admiral Perovich slammed his fist onto the control panel. "I want security teams down there now." "But sir," a trembling ensign said, "the Emperor himself commanded that no one..." "The Emperor," Perovich snarled, "can suck a black hole. If that thing wakes up, there won't be an empire. Somewhere, far below." Gregor Vasquez stared in mute horror as the great cosmic being before him rolled onto its back, paws in the air, waiting for the belly rub. Gregor swallowed. He was either about to be incinerated or immortalized as the first human being to rub the belly of the most powerful entity in the known universe. He took a deep breath, and then, hesitantly, he reached out. Gregor Vasquez's fingers hovered mere millimeters above the cosmic feline's exposed belly. He could hear the blood pounding in his ears, the faint hum of the ship's ventilation system, and most terrifyingly, the rhythmic, bone-rattling purring emanating from the alien cat's unfathomable core. This was a trap. It had to be. Every person, every species that had ever dared rub a cat's belly had paid the price. One moment, they were reveling in the fluffy warmth, the illusion of trust. The next, they were the unfortunate recipients of a series of tactical slashes, precision designed to extract both pain and existential regret. And this was no ordinary cat. This was an entity of incomprehensible power. It had survived millennia. It had seen the rise and fall of entire civilizations. It had waited. For what, exactly? Gregor wasn't sure. But now, after 3,121 years of solitude, it was lying on its back, paws curled, waiting. Gregor swallowed. Somewhere deep in the bowels of the Eternal Dominion, alarms were screaming. The ship's gravitational stabilizers flickered as something massive, something terrible, stirred in the heart of the containment chamber. Security teams were scrambling, but Gregor knew something they didn't. It was too late. The moment he had entered this room, something fundamental in the universe had shifted. He was no longer just a condemned soldier serving a ridiculous punishment. He was something else now, an object of interest. He took a breath, and then, before he could think better of it, he pressed his fingers against the impossibly soft fur of the alien cat's stomach. For a moment, there was silence. The entire ship seemed to hold its breath. And then, brrrr, the purring deepened, vibrating through Gregor's bones, reverberating through the ship's walls, and, somewhere, light years away, causing the Imperial Throne World's primary moon to experience a sudden and inexplicable seismic event. Gregor was still alive. More importantly, he was still intact. His fingers moved, gingerly at first, then with more confidence. He was rubbing the belly of an entity so powerful it had been sealed away in a floating prison for eternity. And the only thing keeping him from immediate disintegration was that, for some reason, it was enjoying it. Then, as quickly as it had begun, the moment ended. The alien cat rolled back onto its massive paws and regarded Gregor with an expression that could only be described as considering. Then it spoke, or rather, It did something to Gregor's mind that became speech. "You are sufficient." Gregor blinked. What? "You are sufficient." It was not a compliment. It was a classification. A status update, an official change in standing. Gregor had the deeply unsettling realization that prior to this moment, he had not even been a classification in the alien cat's mind. He had been less than nothing, a background detail in a 3,121-year-old prison cell. And now he was sufficient. This was, objectively, the most terrifying moment of his life. Thanks," he offered weakly. The cat's eyes narrowed slightly. "I am leaving now." Gregor's mouth opened, closed, opened again. "I'm sorry, what?" The ship shook. Lights flickered. Gravity fluctuated for a fraction of a second. Somewhere far above, Admiral Perovich was screaming into a comms link that was already spitting out static. The bridge crew was scrambling, trying to understand why Containment Field B, the one thing that had never been breached, the one thing they had all been assured could not be breached, was now registering negative energy fluctuations. In a single, incomprehensible instant, the structure of reality itself shifted, and the alien cat simply stepped forward. There was no explosion, no great rupture in space-time, no violent tearing of metal. It simply decided to be somewhere else. And so it was. Gregor watched in mute horror as the formerly impenetrable containment field, powered by generators the size of city blocks, reinforced by technology older than recorded history, vanished like mist in the morning sun. The cat stretched, arching its back lazily, its mechanical harness whirring in subtle, unreadable ways. "This prison has been inconvenient." It turned its massive head, fixing Gregor with those black hole eyes. "You will guide me now." Gregor stammered. "I will what?" The ship lurched. Then the screaming started. Admiral Perovich had seen many things in his decades of service. He had survived the massacre of Korriban 6. He had personally executed no fewer than 3 planetary governors for insubordination. He had once, in a moment of particularly intense stress, eaten an entire emergency nutrient brick without water. But nothing had prepared him for this. "Sir," one of his officers choked out, We lost containment." "What?" Perovich stormed to the central holodisplay, where a live security feed flickered into view. There, in the bowels of the ship, walking freely through a corridor that should not exist, was the alien cat, and next to it, wearing an expression of utter existential horror, was Lieutenant Gregor Vasquez. "What?" Perovich growled through clenched teeth. "Is he doing?" The ensign at the console swallowed. It appears, sir, that he's guiding it." There was a moment of absolute, perfect silence. Then Perovich exhaled through his nose and turned to his second-in-command. "Arm the planetary cannons." "Sir," the officer paled, This is an Imperial flagship. We don't have planetary cannons." Perovich's eye twitched. "Then get me something, now." Gregor, meanwhile, was having the worst day of his life. "I don't suppose," he muttered as he walked beside the alien cat, "that you'd consider just, not annihilating everything." "Why would I?" Gregor exhaled. "I don't know. Basic decency." The cat did not answer. Instead, it turned its head slightly, ears flicking, listening to something beyond human perception. Then it spoke. "They are preparing to fire upon me." Gregor felt his stomach plummet. He turned a corner and saw exactly what he had hoped not to see. A security detail, heavily armed. They had been ordered to stop this. They did not know how. So they had done what any soldier in their position would do. They had pointed everything at the problem and hoped for the best. Gregor raised his hands. Listen, maybe we don't want to." The ranking officer cut him off. "Lieutenant Vasquez, step aside." Gregor's mouth opened to protest. And then the alien cat yawned. The corridor tilted. Gravity warped, matter twisted. For a split second, every single person present felt the overwhelming sensation that they were about to be folded inside out and scattered across 1 trillion dimensions. And then, nothing. When Gregor opened his eyes, the security team was gone, not dead, not vaporized, not turned into fine red mist, just gone. The cat licked its paw. "You will take me to your leader," Gregor swallowed. "Yeah, he muttered. "Oh, I had a feeling you were gonna say that." Gregor Vasquez had always believed in certain fundamental truths. One, the Galactic Empire was corrupt, but it was predictably corrupt. As long as you knew the right combination of bribes, paperwork, and groveling, you could navigate its bureaucratic nightmare and live a life of relatively mild inconvenience. Tudeh's war was a miserable, pointless endeavor carried out by people too stupid or too afraid to find better solutions, and his only goal as a soldier was to avoid getting shot, vaporized, or fed to something with too many appendages. 3. The universe was vast, indifferent, and most importantly, governed by rules. Rules like physics, causality, and the unspoken but universally acknowledged agreement that house cats should not have the ability to annihilate entire star systems with a yawn. And yet, as Gregor now walked down the Eternal Dominion's grand hallways with the alien cat at his side, past still smoking security terminals, abandoned weaponry, and the unsettling voids where entire squads of elite soldiers had once existed, he felt the last of his fundamental truths crumbling into dust. The Galactic Empire, it turned out, was not predictably corrupt. It was catastrophically stupid. War, apparently, was the only answer, because he could already hear the distant sounds of alarms blaring and heavy boots marching as the fleet scrambled to stop something unstoppable. And as for the universe being a place of laws and reason, well, he was currently escorting a telepathic, time-warping, physics-ignoring feline deity to a meeting with the most powerful political figure in known space. The universe, Gregor decided, was bullshit. Admiral Perovich had stopped shouting, mostly because he had run out of things to shout about. Instead, he stood stiffly in the command deck, hands behind his back, staring at the display screen with the quiet, simmering rage of a man who knew in his bones that he was about to be blamed for everything. The Emperor was already on the holo-channel, his golden-cloaked silhouette flickering with static, waiting for an explanation. But what could Perovich say? "Your Majesty, the ancient cosmic horror that we imprisoned for 3,821 years has decided to leave, and it's being guided by the least qualified human in existence. Also, it appears to be purring." No, that wouldn't do. Instead, he took a slow, measured breath and turned to his officers. "Where is it now?" A nervous lieutenant scanned his console. "Sir, it's approaching the bridge." Perovich's eye twitched. "And no one thought to stop it?" The lieutenant swallowed. "We, tried." There was a pause. Perovich exhaled sharply through his nose. And the lieutenant simply pointed to another screen. It showed a security feed of an entire squad of heavily armed Imperial elites standing in a defensive formation in the hallway. They had been trained in every known form of combat. Their armor was reinforced with quantum plating. Their weapons could punch holes through battle cruisers. And yet all of them, all 12 of them, were currently sitting on the floor, wide-eyed, scratching behind the alien cat's ears and murmuring things like, "Who's a good little void god? You are. Yes, you are." Perovich clenched his jaw so tightly he heard something crack. "Stand down," he muttered. "Sir." The lieutenant looked at him as if he just ordered them to surrender the ship to a hamster. Perovich straightened his uniform. "You heard me? We are past the point of fighting this thing. If it wants an audience with the Emperor, then fine. Let's see how he deals with it." The Imperial throne room was designed to intimidate. It was an enormous chamber of gold and marble, its vast ceiling lined with planetary banners, each representing a conquered world. Giant statues of past emperors loomed over the floor, their expressions frozen in self-important scowls. At the far end, on a raised platform, sat the Galactic Emperor himself, a man who, despite his great and terrible reputation, bore an unfortunate resemblance to a damp ferret dressed in ceremonial robes. The Emperor was not pleased. "You!" he roared, pointing a heavily ringed finger at Gregor. "You again!" Gregor sighed. Yeah, me again. You were supposed to be dead. Believe me, Gregor muttered. I'm working on it. Then, very slowly, he stepped aside, allowing the alien cat to come forward. For a moment, there was silence. Then, "You are small." The words did not come from the cat's mouth. They arrived like a heavy, undeniable truth settling into the minds of everyone present. The emperor stiffened. What? The cat blinked. "You are small. This empire is small. It is clumsy, loud. It scratches at the walls of existence like a blind, starving rodent." The emperor's nostrils flared. "I rule the greatest empire in the galaxy, the most powerful civilization in history. You are nothing but a relic of the past." The alien cat's ears flicked. Then it sat down. The room shook. The golden banners rippled, the air twisted, and suddenly Gregor knew. He didn't understand how, but he knew. He saw in an instant what the alien cat truly was. Not a warlord, not a god, not a prisoner, a judge. It had watched civilizations rise and fall. It had observed in complete stillness as empire after empire consumed itself in violence, arrogance, and futility. And now, after waiting for 3,121 years, it had finally reached a conclusion. The alien cat did not want to rule. It did not want to conquer. It wanted to erase. The emperor's mouth opened to shout, to command, to beg, but it was too late. The alien cat yawned. The eternal dominion groaned. Gregor fell to his knees as reality itself shuddered, and then nothing. Gregor opened his eyes. The throne room was empty. No banners, no statues, no emperor, no empire. He was kneeling in the ruins of a once great civilization, surrounded by dust, silence, and the deep, overwhelming certainty that the galaxy had just reset. He turned, heart pounding. The alien cat sat beside him, licking its paw. Gregor swallowed. "So," he croaked. What now?" The cat glanced at him, then slowly stood. "Now," it said. "I am done waiting." Gregor did not know what that meant, but he had a feeling he was about to find out, and he was not going to like it. Gregor Vasquez, a man who had once dreamed of nothing greater than a quiet military career filled with paperwork and minimal responsibility, now stood in the remains of an empire, beside a cosmic feline whose whims had just rewritten the political landscape of the galaxy. The Eternal Dominion, the once mighty flagship of the Imperial fleet, no longer hummed with the oppressive weight of bureaucracy and violence. Its corridors were silent. The vast throne room, once gilded with the stolen wealth of 1,000 conquered worlds, was now just an empty chamber of dust and echoes. The emperor was gone. His advisors, his guards, his entire infrastructure of power simply erased, as if they had never mattered in the first place. Gregor let out a slow breath. Then, carefully, deliberately, he turned to the alien cat. "So," he said, rubbing his temples, "you've, officially dismantled an empire today. Congratulations." The cat licked its paw. "It was inefficient." "Right," Gregor said, nodding. "That's definitely one way to look at it." The cat's eyes, those vast, impossible voids, flickered with something unreadable. "You are still confused." Gregor let out a bitter laugh. "Oh no, I think I've got it now. You sat in a containment chamber for 3,121 years, waiting to pass judgment on an empire that you found boring, and now that you've snapped your little void paws and erased them, what? You just move on to the next thing. Wipe out another civilization. Is this just like your Tuesday?" The cat tilted its head. "I do not destroy, I correct." Gregor's eye twitched. "Oh, well, thank goodness. I was worried for a second there that we might be dealing with an unhinged, all-powerful space entity with zero concept of collateral damage." The cat blinked, unimpressed. Gregor sighed, rubbing the bridge of his nose. "Look, I know I'm just some insignificant idiot who was supposed to die feeding you a ration pack, but did it ever occur to you that maybe, just maybe, you're not fixing anything? You're just replacing one mess with another?" The cat stared at him for a long, uncomfortable moment. Then it stood, its mechanical harness humming. The galaxy has been reset. I will leave now. Gregor stiffened. Leave. I will find a new point of interest, a new observation, a new cycle. Gregor's stomach dropped. Because now, for the first time, he understood it was never just about the Empire. It was never just about this moment. This was just one instance, one empire, one civilization. The alien cat had been watching, not just this era, but all of them, across time, across dimensions. And every time something got too inefficient, it corrected the course by wiping the board clean, which meant, Gregor swallowed, "You're going to do this again." The cat blinked, eventually, and there it was. The galaxy, hell, the universe, was nothing more than a temporary arrangement to this thing. The moment it decided that things were getting dull, or chaotic, or inefficient, it would simply start over, which meant nothing lasted. No empire, no history, no people. Gregor exhaled, staring at the ground, thoughts racing. He had one shot, one single opportunity to stop this thing from ever doing it again. And he had exactly 0 military resources, no political leverage, and the strategic capability of a man who once lost a battle simulation against an auto-vacuum droid. But there was one thing, one single, undeniable fact. The alien cat had liked him. He was sufficient. Gregor straightened, his hands clenched into fists, and then, with all the confidence of a man who had absolutely no idea what he was doing, he turned to the being that had casually rewritten history and said, "You can't leave." The cat stopped. It tilted its head. "Explain," Gregor exhaled. "You don't want to admit it, but you liked that belly rub, didn't you?" There was silence. A long, terrible silence. Then it was acceptable. Gregor felt his pulse hammering in his throat. He couldn't believe what he was about to say. "Right. Well, here's the thing. You're not going to find another me." The cat narrowed its eyes. "There are many life forms in the universe." "Sure," Gregor said, "but how many of them get you? I mean, really get you? How many of them figured out, in less than 10 minutes, that the way to your void god heart was a simple little laser pointer?" The cat did not respond. Gregor pressed on. "You've been waiting 3,821 years, right? Just watching, judging, but you didn't do anything until me." The cat's tail flicked, a minor motion, a subtle gesture, but Gregor had seen enough animal behavior to know what it meant. Doubt. "You like me," he said, eyes narrowing. "You find me interesting." The cat blinked slowly. Gregor's breath caught. It was working. He took a step forward. "You erase empires when you get bored. You reset things when they stop being fun. But what if, just what if, instead of erasing, you stayed?" The cat said nothing. Gregor took another step. "I mean, think about it," he pressed. "You could leave. Go find another empire, another civilization to judge. Start over. Again. But isn't that predictable? Isn't that, dare I say it, boring?" The cat's mechanical harness hummed, its glowing core pulsing. Gregor inhaled sharply. This was it, the moment, the gamble of his entire life. "Stay," he said. "Stay and experience the galaxy without wiping it clean. See what happens. See what I do. See what we all do." The cat was still, motionless. Then, slowly, impossibly, its tail curled around Gregor's leg. Gregor's entire body went rigid. He didn't breathe, didn't move. Then the cat's voice rumbled in his mind. "You are sufficient." Gregor let out a slow, shaking breath. "Does that mean you're staying?" he asked. The cat blinked, for now. Gregor closed his eyes, hands on his hips. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. He looked around at the ruins of the Empire, the empty throne room, the absolute mess of history that he had just barely prevented from being erased. Then, exhaling, he muttered, "I need a drink." The cat stretched luxuriously, purring. "So do I." Gregor's head snapped up. "Wait, you drink? Only the finest cream?" Gregor let out a strangled laugh. Of course. Of course the godlike feline entity had a taste for dairy. He shook his head, rubbing his face. "All right, fine. But I'm telling you right now, if you start judging civilizations based on the quality of their milk, we're gonna have a problem." The cat yawned. We shall see, Gregor sighed, running a hand through his hair. Then, with nothing else left to do, he turned toward whatever the hell came next. And naturally, the alien cat followed. Because for the first time in 3,121 years, it was interested. Gregor and the alien cat walked through the ruined corridors of the Eternal Dominion, their steps echoing through a ship that had once been the beating heart of an empire, but now was little more than an abandoned relic. The galaxy was, in a very literal sense, leaderless. No emperor, no chain of command, just billions of people waking up to a reality where their absolute ruler had been neatly erased from existence by an entity that had, up until 2 hours ago, been best known for sitting in a cell and not moving. Gregor rubbed his temples. So, just to clarify, what happens now? The cat's tail flicked. That is no longer my concern, Gregor exhaled. Right, of course it isn't. He waved a hand vaguely toward the nearest viewport, where the vast expanse of space stretched out in cold indifference. You erased an empire. Do you have any idea how much paperwork that's going to create? Bureaucrats are going to be having existential breakdowns for years. The cat licked its paw. They were inefficient. Gregor let out a weak laugh. Sure, but inefficient people tend to get very, very angry when they find out they've been forcibly retired from existence. And right on cue, the fleet arrived. A ripple of energy washed over the ship as dozens, no, hundreds of vessels emerged from hyperspace. Some were Imperial stragglers who hadn't been in the system when the Emperor had been erased. Some were pirate factions who had seen a power vacuum and were already scrambling to seize what they could. And some were planetary defense forces who had been waiting centuries for exactly this kind of moment. Gregor's stomach sank. Oh, wonderful, he muttered. An entire armada of angry, trigger-happy lunatics who think they're the new boss. A voice crackled over the ship's failing comm system. This is Commander Luther Khan of the Reformation Fleet, a cold, authoritative voice declared. As of this moment, we are assuming control of the Imperial territories. Stand down and prepare for integration. Gregor scoffed. Integration? Oh, that's rich. You can't just walk in and declare yourselves in charge. A second voice interrupted. This is Admiral Serak of the Free Coalition. The Empire is dead. We will no longer bow to tyrants. A third voice cut in almost immediately. This is Captain Vrax of the Crimson Marauders. Everything in this system now belongs to us. If you don't like it, you can take it up with our cannons. Gregor stared at the comm panel, then at the cat, then back at the comm panel. You see, he threw his hands in the air. This is why we can't have nice things. The cat watched the situation unfold, tail swaying, expression unreadable. They will fight. Gregor pinched the bridge of his nose. Oh, they'll fight. All right. They'll fight until half the galaxy is on fire, and then whoever wins will start building a new empire, and in a few thousand years, you'll get bored and do this all over again. The cat flicked an ear. That is likely, Gregor groaned. Okay, no, we're not doing this. No more resets, no more cosmic course corrections. We need to end this properly. He took a deep breath, squared his shoulders, and pressed the broadcast button. This is Lieutenant Gregor Vasquez, he said, voice carrying across every ship in the fleet. And before you idiots start blowing each other up, there's something you need to know. A pause. Then Khan's voice. And why should we listen to you? Gregor exhaled, because the thing that just erased the Emperor like he was a bad hollow-ad is still here. And I promise you, if you people start another war over who gets to wear the fancy crown, it will not go well for you. Silence. Then Serak. What are you saying? Gregor shot a glance at the cat, then back at the mic. I'm saying that this is a one-time offer, a fresh start. No empire, no rulers, just people deciding their own damn futures for once. More silence. Then Vrax. And if we don't take the offer? Gregor shrugged. Then I leave. The fleet commanders hesitated. You leave? Gregor turned to the cat, heart pounding. Then with absolute certainty he said, I leave. With it, another long silence. Then Khan's voice, uncertain. And where exactly would you go? Gregor smiled grimly. Oh, I don't know, he said. Find another empire. Maybe one you like, maybe one you've built. He let that sink in. Maybe I take the cat to your homeworlds and let it decide if you're efficient enough to keep existing. The sheer weight of those words settled over the comms like a death sentence. Gregor leaned in. So, do you still want to fight? The answer was immediate. No. Gregor exhaled. And just like that, the fleet stood down. For the first time in history, an empire fell without another one taking its place. Hours later, Gregor stood at the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, watching the fleet disperse. Planets that had once been under Imperial control were now free. The galaxy, for the first time in centuries, was leaderless, but not in chaos. He turned to the cat. So, he said, guess I just saved the galaxy. The cat blinked. You are still sufficient, Gregor smirked. High praise. Coming from you. The cat's tail curled around his leg again. Gregor sighed. All right, fine. You can stay. The cat yawned, entirely victorious. I was always staying. Gregor rolled his eyes. Yeah, figures. He turned back to the viewport. A universe stretched before them. An empire had fallen. A war had been prevented. And for the first time in his life, Gregor Vasquez wasn't just surviving. He was actually doing something that mattered. He crossed his arms. So, what now? The cat sat, gazing out into the stars. Then, after a long moment, milk, Gregor laughed. A full, deep, genuine laugh. And somewhere in the vast and endless universe, history moved forward. Without an empire, without a ruler, just people. And a very satisfied cat, the end. Commander John Zex lounged in his ergonomic command chair, which had been custom-molded to support both his lumbar and his ego. He was already halfway into what he considered a power recline, a position indistinguishable from someone falling asleep while trying to look menacing. The flagship of the Gralaxian Conquest Fleet, Inexorable Triumph 4, cruised silently through the endless black majestic in the way only bureaucratic over-engineering could achieve. It had 128 redundant toilet modules, 3 onboard smoothie dispensers, and one very confused AI who thought it was a therapist. Commander Zex, chirped the AI, affectionately named SynCorp Alexa 7. You've been idle for 37 minutes. Would you like to review Conquest Protocol Forms 44B through 78C for planetary engagement? Jan opened one eye. Only if they involve actual conquest or spontaneous combustion. Otherwise, file them under no. Behind him, Lieutenant Glib, whose main job was to press buttons and nod emphatically, did just that. Sir, we're approaching the target planet. Local designation, Earth. Gralaxian classification. Category 1.5 Mudball. Subspecies dominance, oxygen-addicted bipeds. Subspecies humans. Humans, Jan mused, turning the word over like a suspicious piece of fruit. The ones who flung tin cans to their moon and got confused about gravity. Didn't they lose a spacecraft because someone converted inches wrong? Yes, sir, Glib replied. Also, they microwaved a fork once and thought they'd invented thunder. Charming. John cracked his knuckles. Bring up the planetary scan. I want to see what variety of dirt I'll be lording over. The hologram flared to life. Earth spun serenely in space, wrapped in a thin ozone shawl like it was pretending not to be toxic. It shimmered in shades of blue and green and grayish. Disappointment, John narrowed his eyes. Zoom in on that glowing sector. That's Las Vegas, sir. It appears to be powered by regret and loose coinage. That tracks. The ship's comms buzzed with incoming orders from Gralaxian High Command, which arrived in the form of a 462-page digital memo titled Preliminary Earth Intervention Engagement Strategy, Addendum. 19B, consider bringing heavy artillery. Humans are statistically weird. John raised an eyebrow. Statistically weird. Glib nodded. Sir, there's a 73% chance of unexpected resistance, a 62% chance of cultural offense incidents, and a 98% chance of encountering something described as Florida. Understood, Jan said, rising to full posture. Or at least, the closest his species got without a support exoskeleton. Prep the drop squadrons, deploy a scouting party, and for the love of bureaucracy, make sure we have the compliance waiver signed before we disintegrate anything sentient this time. Copy that. But, sir, Glib hesitated. There's something else. Unless it's a snack option, I'm not interested. We picked up signals. Jan's face stiffened. Human military? No, Glib replied, spinning his console. They appear to be cat videos, looping forever. A chill went through the command deck. Even Syncorp Alexa 7 paused. And this, Glib added, came through our quantum encryption channel. He pressed play. The screen flashed a crudely animated ASCII cat doing a dance with text scrolling underneath. Turn back LOL, you know ready. Jan blinked. Is that supposed to be a threat? No, sir. It's labeled as a meme. How did they hack our encryption? They appear to have brute-forced the quantum firewall using something called Wolfram Alpha. There was a long silence. Is that a weapon? I believe it's a math website, sir. Popular among teenagers and professors with tenure rage. Jarn sat down, hard. All right, Plan B. Send in Observation Pod Alpha. Cloak it. Let's get actual. Intel before we do something heroic. Already done, sir, but Jan looked up sharply. What now? They cloaked it, launched it, and it was immediately hijacked mid-flight by something called SpaceX. It's currently en route to what appears to be a billion-dollar prank involving a mannequin in a convertible. Another long pause. Jan rubbed his temple. What is wrong with this planet? We don't know, sir, but it seems coordinated. Even the anomalies are timed like punchlines. That's when the screen flickered. A new message appeared. No fanfare, no audio. Hello, Gralaxians. Nice ships. Can we interest you in tea before you leave? It was signed simply MJ. MJ? Yarn squinted. Is that a musician? Royalty? Weapon class? Glib double-checked. General Mara Jordan, Earth's Planetary Defense Commander. Also former Jeopardy champion, fluent in 8 languages, including ours, and once weaponized sarcasm at a UN summit. Jan stood again, but slowly this time. Open a channel. I want to see this MJ. Let's meet Earth's Welcome Committee. The screen shifted. There she was, General Mara Jordan, sipping a mug labeled Barn Overlord Repellent. She gave a polite smile. Commander Zex, isn't it? We were wondering when you'd drop by. Bit early for intergalactic eviction notices, don't you think? Jan cleared his throat. Earth is hereby annexed under Article 7.2 of the Gralaxian expansion. Doctrine, resistance is mathematically discouraged. Oh good, she said. I love math. Behind her, someone was juggling calculators. Another human in the background screamed, I just taught a rat to solve Sudoku. Mara continued, calm as a lake made of passive aggression. We'll decline the conquest, thank you, but do stay. For lunch, we're experimenting with reverse invasion hospitality. Also, your comms are now being translated through a voice modulator that makes you sound like Gilbert Gottfried. Jan's mouth fell open. He did, in fact, now sound like Gilbert Gottfried. What sorcery is this? Mara smiled wider. Improvisation. You should try it sometime. The screen cut out. Silence descended on the bridge. Jan slowly turned to Glib. We are not in Kansas anymore. What's Kansas, sir? I don't know, Jan whispered, but I think I'm scared of it. He slumped back into his chair, no longer lounging, now bracing. Earth wasn't a conquest. Earth was a trap disguised as a punchline, and the Gralaxians had just walked into the setup. The inexorable Triumph 4 floated in high orbit over Earth, its hull shimmering like a tax document dipped in chrome. On board, Commander Jan Zex had transitioned from smug to vaguely disturbed. He sat in his chair in full crisis recline, fingers steepled, legs crossed awkwardly because the ergonomic designer hadn't accounted for stress twitching. Lieutenant Glib, standing beside him with the expression of someone about to suggest a team-building exercise in the middle of a fire, spoke hesitantly. "Sir, the second wave is ready. Shall I deploy the Reconno droids?" John rubbed his temples. "Yes, but program them not to engage. Just observe. And don't let them land anywhere named Florida. I've read the incident reports. We don't need another Armadillo-Nado situation." Glib blinked. "Armadillo, what now?" "Don't ask." The Reconno droids launched in synchronized silence, each one a masterwork of Gralaxian surveillance tech. They were sleek, silent, and equipped with sensors that could detect sarcasm from orbit. Their mission was simple: scan Earth's infrastructure, report weaknesses, avoid bar mitzvahs. The first droid touched down in a suburban parking lot outside something labeled a target. It attempted to blend in by disguising itself as a shopping cart, which worked for a full 32 seconds until a child climbed inside and demanded it sing Baby Shark. The droid self-destructed out of shame. Elsewhere, another droid infiltrated a research facility called MIT, where it promptly got recruited into a robotics class and upgraded by undergrads using parts from a rice cooker. It began questioning the morality of conquest and started a YouTube channel titled Self-Aware Not Sorry. Back on the bridge, Jan watched the data feed spiral into something that looked suspiciously like performance art. "Are we being mocked?" he asked aloud, uncertain whether to feel offended or impressed. Before Glib could answer, another alert popped up. "Commander," he said, voice tightening, "there's an anomaly." "Define anomaly." "Our comm system has been hijacked." "Again," John groaned. "Another ASCII cat?" "No, sir, it appears to be a quiz." Jan squinted at the screen. Sure enough, it was a multiple-choice questionnaire titled, "How ready are you to conquer Earth? Take this fun galactic quiz." Question 1, what is pi? A, 3.14. B, a delicious dessert. C, a transcendental number. D, none of the above. Pi is a lie. The cake is also a lie. Question 2. If a train leaves Chicago at 6:15 going 85 ps more and another leaves New York at 7:30 traveling at the speed of petty revenge, how long before you realize this is a trap? "I don't even know what Chicago is," Jan muttered. The screen glitched, then flashed red. "You have failed the quiz. Earth is disappointed. Please enjoy this educational video on ducks." The next 10 minutes were narrated by an enthusiastic voiceover about how ducks have no echo and may or may not be CIA agents. One Reconno droid imploded out of existential dread. Another began filing for asylum in Canada. Then came the kettle. It streaked across the sky like a teapot-shaped missile, trailing what looked like confetti and playing. Beethoven's Ode to Joy on outdoor speakers at 120 decibels. One of the Gralaxian scout ships attempted to intercept it, only to crash into a floating billboard that read, "Welcome invaders, ask about our family discounts." "What is that thing?" Jan snapped. Glib's voice was shaking. "Sir, Earth appears to have launched a network of semi-autonomous orbital objects powered by something called crowd-funded irony. That was Satellite 12K, designated Sir Kettletron. Its primary mission appears to be disrupting enemy formations, using loud classical music and confusing shapes. They've militarized whimsy," John whispered. "That's illegal, isn't it?" "Technically, sir, it's just very Earth." Before Jan could finish deciding whether to admire or vaporize the kettle, the main view screen blinked again. General Mara Jordan appeared holding a cup of tea as if summoned by cosmic timing. "Commander Zex," she said with a warm smile that carried the weight of a diplomatic mugging, "I do hope our little greeting gifts haven't ruined your A whole invasion vibe. We've been getting creative. Your satellites are violating space decorum, John barked. Oh, come now. You sent murder robots. We sent a flying teapot and some math quizzes. Who's really escalating here? Jan tried to respond, but the internal AI chose that moment to loudly announce, morale system failure detected, initiating team affirmation protocol. The bridge lights dimmed, and the ship's speakers began playing smooth jazz while displaying the words, "You are a beautiful starfish in the galaxy of self-worth." Mara Jordan took a delicate sip. "Your ship needs a therapist." "We have one. It's also the microwave." "Ah." Jarn killed the feed. "All right," he snapped. "That's it. Enough games. Assemble the assault briefing. No more dancing. Ducks or flying kettles or quiz-based warfare, we're going in hard." But as he stood to issue the attack order, the ship trembled. Sir," Glib said, pale green with panic. "Something's appearing, right off our starboard hull." Jan turned. It wasn't another kettle. It was a ship, if one could call a geometrically impossible swirl of shape, color, and physical rules a ship. It existed and didn't. It had windows that looked into other dimensions. It cast shadows that blinked. It made a noise like a philosophical sigh. From within it, a beam of translucent shimmer phased into the command deck. A figure materialized, tall, robed, wearing something that looked like a business badge and a halo of bureaucratic inevitability. The being blinked once, then spoke in a calm, impossibly patient voice. "Greetings. I am Agent Tuva of the Celestial Compact. You are in violation of Interstellar Development Clause 314A, unauthorized aggression toward a protected development zone." Jarn stared. "I'm sorry. What now?" Agent Tuva pulled out a clipboard that didn't exist a moment ago. "Earth is under compact protection. You are being cited for a Class A violation of the Sapient Preservation Mandate. That carries a fine of 40,000 cosmic units, mandatory ethics re-education, and if you don't stop right now, a temporal audit." "A temporal audit? Where?" "We review your entire species' decision-making history in slow motion." John fell into his chair like gravity had tripled. "This can't be real. The compact, that was a myth, a training video, a joke." Tuva tapped the clipboard. "We are not a joke, Commander. We are the reason there hasn't been a planet-wide kazoo war since the Zenthral incident." Glib raised a shaky hand. "Excuse me, but we didn't know Earth was protected." Tuva smiled, kindly, disturbingly. "Yes, that's because you didn't read the fine print." With a flash, Tuva vanished. The bridge sat in stunned silence. The last Reconno droid reported in. It had defected. It now ran a food truck in Brooklyn. Commander John groaned into his hands. "We're not invading a planet. We've walked into a cosmic HR meeting with landmines, and Earth, bizarre, reckless, nonsensical Earth, had been ready, with tea and a quiz." Admiral Torv's face occupied the entire view screen in that very specific way only supervisors and interstellar tax officers seemed to manage. He looked like a lizard that had climbed to the top of a very tall stack of paperwork and was furious. About the view, his forehead, which took up roughly 42% of the frame, pulsed with bureaucratic intensity. "Commander John Zex," he boomed, "explain to me why I am currently being summoned to a mandatory ethics tribunal by something called the Celestial Compact?" Jan stood at full attention, which for him meant standing rigidly upright and regretting most of his life choices. "Well, Admiral, it appears Earth is protected." Torv's face scrunched in a way that could only be described as redacted. "And for legal reasons. Protected by what? They're a mudball with subscription-based dental care." "Yes, sir, but apparently they're a designated protected development zone." "That can't be right. That designation was discontinued. 2,000 years ago. Correct, sir, which is why we didn't check. Torv blinked. You didn't check? Jon nodded solemnly, trying not to look like a man who'd been outwitted by ducks and an animated kettle. Torv inhaled deeply, the way a volcanic fault line might just before making the evening news. Commander, he said slowly, you are personally responsible for filing the Protocol 9 annexation forms. Did you read the clause on legacy compact conflicts? I did, sir, Jon replied, but it was in footnote 87G, behind a spoiler tag and 2 pages of pasta recipes. That's the compact appendix, Torv hissed. The recipes are allegorical. Jon blinked. Sir, I don't think I was spiritually prepared for interstellar legislation, disguised as lasagna. Before Torv could respond with the verbal equivalent of an orbital cannon, the ship trembled again, not from impact, but from something more insidious. Notification pings, hundreds of them, from every system. The bridge turned into a symphony of alerts, red, yellow, teal, which wasn't even a warning color, until Earth hacked the system and made it one. The primary display now showed a list, long, scrolling, and rapidly updating. Incoming compliance violations, improper invasion etiquette, Form 48A, failure to notify Celestial Compact of intent to menace, misclassification of sapient species, bipeds, possibly hairless, is no longer acceptable, unauthorized use of the word conquest within 30 parsecs of a protected planet, emotional harm to Earth's defense AI, now self-identifying as disappointed dad. One of the bridge's interns, a young Gralaxian named Vrup, who still believed war was glamorous, read the list aloud in growing horror. Sir, they even flagged our ships for incorrect pronoun usage. What? We haven't spoken to the ships. Their names, sir. Triumph, Dominance, Despair Sour. Apparently, those are considered emotionally aggressive nouns under Article 3 of the Compact's Anti-Imperialism Charter. I named those myself, Jon said, wounded, and they've filed a formal complaint, the ships against you. Jon's hands began to shake. Sir, Glib said softly, I think the bureaucracy has awakened, as if summoned by the phrase, the lights dimmed. A deep, sonorous chime echoed through the hull, the sound of universal paperwork folding itself into a weapon. And then, once again, they arrived. Agent Tuva reappeared in the center of the bridge with all the calm serenity of a cosmic yoga instructor about to condemn someone to paperwork-based eternity. The Gralaxians had by now stopped pretending to be surprised. Tuva held out a tiny slip of paper. It floated across the air, glowing faintly. This, they said with impeccable politeness, is a citation of intent to escalate without reading. The bylaws. It requires your signature. Jon took it, looked at the glowing space ink and mumbled, Is this blood? Metaphorical, Tuva smiled. Unless you default on your appeal. Look, Jon said, trying to summon the last dregs of his imperial arrogance. We're not villains here. We're explorers with lasers and a superiority complex. But we didn't mean to offend any galactic homeowners. Association, Tuva nodded sagely. Intent does not erase impact, Commander. From the corner of the bridge, Glib whispered, That's in our diversity training manual. Indeed, Tuva said, which you all signed without reading, as indicated by the checkbox marked, Yes, I understand the ethical implications of pan-galactic expansionism. Jon collapsed into his chair. So what happens now, he asked. Do you vaporize us? Oh no, Tuva said. We're not monsters. We simply escalate things through proper channels. A soft ding, a new transmission appeared on screen. Not from the Compact, from Earth. General Mara Jordan again, this time sitting at what appeared to be a folding table in a school gymnasium. Hello again, she said, beaming. Just wanted to let you know we've submitted your entire fleet to the Compact's Ethics Committee under the clause for unlicensed galactic intimidation, and we've started a Kickstarter to crowdsource your legal defense. It's currently at $14 and a packet of Sour Patch Kids. Tuva gave a polite nod. Earth is learning quickly. It seems they've read the bylaws and the appendices. Jan closed his eyes. They read the appendices. They annotated them. Jan opened his eyes in horror. Oh gods, they've weaponized the footnotes. Tuva's form began to fade again, voice echoing like distant filing cabinets slamming shut. Prepare for a tribunal, Commander, and maybe start considering a different career track. With that, Tuva vanished. Silence. Then finally Glib said, "Sir, we've just received a packet of formal cease and desist memes from Earth." Memes? Yes. One appears to be a cartoon frog yelling "No takeover PLZ." Another has your face photoshopped onto a hamster with the caption, "I came, I saw, I got bureaucratically annihilated." Jan didn't move. Also, Glib added, "They're trending." All across the bridge, systems were quietly shutting down, not from sabotage, not from damage, but from pure, undiluted embarrassment. The ship's AI updated its status to emotionally unavailable. Finally, Jan stood. "Begin." "Retraction sequence," he said flatly. "Retreat," Glib asked. Jan's face was carved from shame and bureaucratic despair. "No, we call it a strategic re-exit. Spin it as a tactical repositioning for further legal review." "And the Earthlings?" Jan sighed. "We leave them alone." He paused. "For now, but even as the fleet slowly turned, tails proverbially tucked somewhere in the distance, a kettle whistled, and it was whistling in victory. Commander Jan Zex, formerly known across 17 sectors as the Hammer of Sector 9, and more recently as that guy who got owned by a teapot, stood before the bridge's central console with all the enthusiasm of a wet sock in a vacuum. Around him, the command crew bustled with an energy that could best be described as grim damage control. They were preparing the most ignoble maneuver in all of Gralaxian history, an official, fully documented strategic re-exit. The fleet, once a glittering testament to imperial ambition, was now limping toward the far side of Earth's moon, licking metaphorical wounds and trying not to be noticed by passing satellites. Half the ships had been defaced by Earth's digital pranksters, who somehow hijacked the hull projectors. Inexorable Triumph 4 currently bore a looping gif of a confused-looking llama with the caption, "When you came to conquer, but forgot to bring snacks." "Commander," said Glib, who now spoke like a man perpetually waiting for an apology that would never come. "Fleet movement complete. We're officially in reverse forward observation posture." "That's just retreating backwards," Jan muttered. "Correct, sir. But it sounds prouder." Nothing sounds proud when you've been legally punked by a civilization that thinks pizza is a food group. Just then, a new transmission pinged into the bridge. Not from Earth, not from the Celestial Compact, from Gralaxian High Command. Jan's stomach sank. The screen lit up with the unmistakable three-headed insignia of the Union's internal review panel, a terrifying triumvirate of retired admirals, veteran auditors, and one very mean pension officer. Their expressions radiated the pure, sour energy of creatures who hadn't smiled since before carbon-based life evolved. A central voice spoke, deep, gravelly, and impossibly condescending. "Commander Jan Zex, you stand accused of gross tactical embarrassment, violation of subclause B14 of the Interstellar Conquest Manual, and egregious mimetic failure." Jan attempted to look composed. "If I may defend myself." "You may not." A second head leaned forward. "Do you understand the magnitude of your failure?" You allowed a Category 1.5 mudball to invoke a forgotten intergalactic legal system, weaponize digital ducks, and force a full-scale fleet withdrawal without firing a single shot. The third voice chimed in, nasal and cruel. Even the Splugorths of Varnak 9 didn't fail this badly, and they accidentally conquered their own home planet. I wasn't briefed on the compact, John insisted, standing straighter now. No one told me Earth had legal protections. That, said the central voice, is because no one read the fine print. They all glared in perfect bureaucratic harmony. A silence stretched, then a beep. The screen split, and General Mara Jordan appeared again, sipping something from a novelty mug that read, Intergalactic Nonsense Department, Employee of the Month. Hello again, she said brightly. Just wanted to thank you for the attempted invasion. It really brought the international community together. We haven't agreed on anything this fast since we all collectively decided Pluto was emotionally exhausting. The Gralaxian tribunal squinted at her. You, said the central head, have made a mockery of a sacred process. Mara sipped. Only because the sacred process didn't expect improv comedians with PhDs. Jan coughed. General, please. We are currently in delicate diplomatic conditions. Perhaps now is the time for mutual de-escalation. Of course, she said with a sweet smile. We'd be happy to de-escalate as soon as your ships stop beaming their reverse victory statement into our shopping mall signage. Jordan turned to Glib. Is that still running? Yes, sir, but only at 3 Walmarts, Mara continued. And while I have you, Earth is officially submitting an application to the Celestial Compact, not just as a protected zone, but as a full voting member. The tribunal began to sputter. You can't be serious, said the nasal one. They're not even warp capable. True, said Mara, but we are paperwork capable, and we just sent 3 terabytes of it, color-coded, with binders. The tribunal fell silent. Tuva reappeared, uninvited. They hovered between the screens, nodding calmly. Earth's application is, in fact, the most complete I've ever seen. Their section on invasive species protocols included emotional support ducks, just in case. Jarn's face sagged. Tuva looked to him. Tuva. Commander, I have reviewed the tribunal's concerns, Earth's application, and your personal file. I believe a resolution is possible. Jarn straightened slightly. Do I still have a job? Tuva considered this. Not in conquest, they said, but perhaps in compliance. The compact is in need of a liaison, someone with first-hand experience in aggressive overreach and a demonstrated talent for humiliating failure. Jarn blinked. You want me to become a space administrator? Tuva smiled. Think of it as in public service, with less shooting and more forms. There was a long pause. Then Jan said quietly, what's the dress code? Tuva handed him a shimmering uniform that looked like it had been designed by an accountant during an acid flashback. Mandatory and deeply uncool. Jan sighed, but he took it, and as the tribunal faded from the screen, muttering about mandatory seminars and plaque revisions, Mara gave one last wave. Oh, and Commander? About those memes? Yes, we're making a calendar. The screen cut. The bridge lights returned to normal, and somewhere deep in the heart of Earth, another kettle launched. It did a loop-the-loop and winked. Officially, the Gralaxian Union had called the event a tactical reassessment and diplomatic opportunity optimization. Unofficially, everyone just called it what it was. The day Earth out-bureaucracied an empire and brewed the weirdest, wildest cup of tea the galaxy had ever seen.
Fleet Commander Razik Torval stood on the command bridge of the Eternal Glory, flagship of the Galactic Hegemony's 7th Armada. His 4 arms were clasped behind his back as he gazed out at the formation of warships surrounding his vessel. 1,000 capital ships, 5,000 frigates, and 10,000 fighters arranged in perfect battle formation. the largest military force assembled in the last 3 centuries. Status report, Razik demanded, his voice carrying the raspy quality typical of his species. Sub-Commander Pexel approached with a data tablet. The fleet is at full combat readiness, sir. All ships report green status. Weapons are hot, shields at maximum. The humans have been notified of our arrival as per protocol. Razik snorted, a sound somewhere between amusement and disdain. And what was their response? They acknowledged receipt of our communication and indicated they would send a representative to discuss terms, Pexel said. Discuss terms? Razik barked out a laugh that made several bridge officers flinch. There are no terms to discuss. Their mining operations in the Proxima sector violated our territorial claims. The Council has deemed this an act of war. We are not here to talk. Of course, Commander. But protocol requires... Protocol. Razik spat the word. Protocol is what gives these primitive species the audacity to think they have a place at the galactic table. The humans have been in space for barely 2 centuries. We've ruled the stars for 50 millennia. They should be grateful we even allow them to exist. The tactical officer, Nev Quintar, spoke up from her station. Sir, I'm detecting a vessel approaching from the direction of Earth. It's just one ship. Razik turned his massive head toward the view screen. One ship? Put it on screen. The main display flickered to life, showing a solid...
Oh yeah, so I laughed at some kid from West Virginia that came up here and he was complaining about how rough of a life he had. I said, yeah, take a look at my kid. I said, okay, you want to tell me your life is tough? Can you imagine being him? And he's like, oh no. I said, look, dude, I said, you're... Oh yeah, so I laughed at some kid from West Virginia that came up here and he was complaining about how rough of a life he had. I said, yeah, take a look at my kid. I said, okay, you want to tell me your life is tough? Can you imagine being him? And he's like, oh no. I said, look, dude, I said, you're a cutie pie, man. You must have skated through life. He's never had to do nothing. I said, look at this poor kid. I said, and luckily he's got both eyes, both limbs, you know, he's got eyes, ears, and everything works. I said, there's other kids that, you know, were born without legs or born without arms. So don't tell me how bad you had it. I said, you've had a, you know, easy life. I said, so anybody calls me up and says, oh, my life is so tough. Oh, really? You got Downs? What? You got 2 arms, 2 legs? Yeah, well, you want me to show you some pictures of kids who don't? And you want to tell me how tough your life is? And like, well, I guess it's kind of tough. Yeah, man, you're kind of a crybaby. The man did apologize when he left. He says, you know, I'm 29, but I'm a real young 29. He said, I'm sorry that I acted so young. He says, obviously it's going to take a lot for me to learn how to be a man. I said, oh, yeah. I said, because right now you try to pull these magic words in court, you still got to go past that judge who definitely is a man, or knows when he sees a man, when he doesn't see a man in his court. I said, now, if you act like a man in his court, he'll let you slide. I said, you try to pull these magic words, and you think just because you know these magic words, you know, you're going to just laugh and get away with it. I said, the judge will say, you know what, you hit every single magic word, you are absolutely correct on every single point of law, and I'm still going to hold you guilty, and you're still going to go to jail. You say, but wait a second, I'm a man. I'm looking for the man who done me wrong, and there ain't no man. He knows this common law. And it's like the judge is going to say, you know what, kid? Sue me. Sue me from jail. Let's see if you know how to pull that trick out. Let me see if they got that on YouTube video. How do I sue a judge from jail? You see how that works out for you. So like a Dean Clifford thing. Like, go ahead, Dean. You're 16 months in jail. Go ahead. How did you sue a judge from jail? I'm sure he sued everybody from jail. I'm sure he was letting all kinds of paperwork come flying out of that prison or that jail. He was in jail, not prison. Sorry about that. I'm sure not one piece of that damn paperwork, all that paperwork he put in went anywhere in any court. I'm sure it's just all sitting there because they're like, yeah, so what? You know what? Sue me.
Yeah. When I walked into the second appearance for what I called you about, I walked in and I said, I'm me, I'm Ryan, I'm appearing as a man today, just in case anybody had any questions with that. I'm a man, I'm a real man, and I'm here. And he goes, well, sir, I just want you to know that I never disputed the fact that you're a real man. So I didn't know if he just blowing his smoke, but no, I don't know, I think he was being nice.
But like I said, you got to be very careful if you're talking about a driver's license, because if you're only going in there, see, that's why I met one man in Canada. He got some advice from somebody who said, just go to court and something like I do, saying like you're just a man and you're not defendant and not whatever. So the judge said, oh, good, since the defendant isn't here and the only person that's here is the wife, I'm going to give the bank accounts to the wife, the house to the wife, the car to the wife, the kids to the wife. I'm going to give everything to the wife until the husband appears. So since the husband won't appear, I don't see him here, and obviously the man is still standing right in front of the judge. And I only see, I can't see a man because I don't have jurisdiction over a man. I'm going to have to give every single thing to the wife because that's what I have jurisdiction over, the wife and the husband. I don't have jurisdiction over a man. So too bad the husband didn't show up, because I'm going to give every single damn thing to the wife who did appear, because the husband will not appear. So that's what's happened to you, a lot of you guys who have driver's licenses and stuff. It's like, I'm a man, oh, well, since the driver's license, the defendant did not appear, I'm going to have to make a ruling against the defendant. And the driver's license is suspended against the legal person known as, whatever your name is, Jack Smith, Jack Jones, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what they're going to do to you. And that's being like, hey, wait a second, I'm standing right here. You can't do that. I'm just asking for the man that done it. Oh, look, we're looking for the legal person. The legal person is not here. We're going to hold the trial in his absence, and the license is going to be suspended indefinitely until the defendant appears. And that's what they're going to do to you guys. You guys go into this, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a man. It's like, yeah, great, lovely. Nobody's disputing you're a man. We're looking for the legal person. We're looking for the guy who's got the driver's license. Well, that's not me. Okay, well then we're going to find the driver failed to appear, and we're going to suspend his license indefinitely. Next case, you're going to be like, wait, I still got all this free man bullshit to say. Yeah, the judge will be like, well, you're in the wrong court. Free man court is 2 doors down to the left.
Next to it. Where you meet your cellmate, right?
Yeah, no, where you meet your cellmate, you see the word men's on the door, men's bathroom on the door, and so yeah, that's where you file that.
Yeah.
Because you're full of shit.
I haven't got off on nothing really. I just I've done everything I've said. I've put in paper too, and had the clerk stamp it and all that. And it's just real minimal stuff, but I don't know what I'm doing either. So.
Yeah, that's why you got to be extremely careful when you do this free man bullshit. You know, like I said, the stuff I do, man, is real good shit. But like I said, if you don't know the whole game, you know, like it's like playing tennis. You only know how to hit the ball over the net. It's like, hey, didn't I hit the ball back over at you? Whoa. Nobody told me the ball's going to come back at me. What, you just keep shooting the ball over the net? Yeah, well, I'm a hell of a man. I could serve that ball great. Yeah, well, what happened when I hit it back? Now what do you do?
Yeah, and how do you hit it back?
I don't know how to hit it back. Should I hit it back? Should I just let it go? Did it go over the line? Did it hit the top of the net? Did it go out of bounds? Is it going out of bounds? It's like, well, wait a second. Sometimes you don't want to hit the ball back. Why not? Because it's going long. Just let it go long. What? Yeah, the judge is just shooting it, man. It's going long. You know, just let it go. Just let it go. Don't hit it back. No, just let it sit there. Just no way to go with this. Just let it die. You know, what? Oh, okay. Well, wait a second. No, it's going to fall in bounds. Oh no, that's still in play. You know. Oh man, you got to say this. Got to say this. Well, I thought you said don't say anything. I didn't say don't ever say anything. I said don't hit the ball back when it's going long. It's like, wow, this is too complicated. Yeah, it's called tennis, man. It's kind of a tough game.
Yeah.
No game is easy. Like, it's like, well, to me, if you're a great tennis player, well, then obviously playing a game of tennis is easy. But if you're not a great tennis player, man, that's one frustrating game. When people see, like I said, 99% of my stuff has been traffic related, but it's 10 feet long. So people are like, holy crap, you've been in court a lot. It's like, yeah, so you see a lot of stuff while you're sitting in traffic court. You see a lot of other cases going by, and you're learning a lot when you're a kid. Almost 9 feet out of 10 feet of my rap sheet is before I was the age of 20. It was almost all traffic related.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so I had a lot of fun driving really fast and doing a lot of crazy things with motorcycles and getting citations. I remember back then they didn't have computers, so it was funny. They had to use these books, and I remember this like 90-year-old lady, man. She was like a court clerk, and when I showed up with a citation, and she says, "You got a 1069? A 1069?" She said, "69. I heard a 1068 and 1070." She said, "Huh? I've been working here for like 50 years, and you know what? Honestly, I don't know what." She whips out this great big huge book, man. It was funny, man. I mean, this book must have been about 6-7 inches thick, man. There was dust all over it. She flops it on the counter. She opens it up. And she says, "Oh, driving on a sidewalk." She said, "Yeah, you don't get that very often." I said, "Well, yeah, sometimes, you know, you got to do what you got to do, you know. Sometimes it's easier just to drive on a sidewalk than it is to wait." You know, so I thought that was pretty funny. I mean, I was getting tickets for, you know, things you could only dream of. You know, the people who worked there didn't even know what that was. Yeah, that was the funniest one I ever remember getting, was when the old lady had to, you know, the book was as big as she was, and, you know, it was ridiculous how she put it on the counter like that and said, "What the hell is this? I don't remember. I've been doing this for like 50 years. What the hell is a 69? Oh, driving on a sidewalk. Huh. Yeah, that's one you don't see every day." Yeah, I guess most people keep the car and keep it on the road. I said, well, sometimes, you know, what's the difference? You know, it's flat, concrete, you know, support.
Well, you can't drive backwards.
Yeah, you know, yeah, that's it. Driving a reverse. Yeah, there you go. I can do that too. Yeah, no problem. I don't see a problem with it. I'm doing it quite well. Yeah, his front bumper was on my bumper. You know, we were doing fine. I kept it on the road. You know, I made turns. I went through stop signs. You know, he's like, "Hey," I said, "You know, did you call that reckless?" I thought it's pretty damn good driving.
And they're patting herself on the back, huh?
I'll tell you, man. I was a very, I don't know if I'm a very good driver anymore, but I'm telling you, man, I used to be a hell of a driver. I built cars, so I knew what they could do.
Well, New York City is the video game of driving, so.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I mean, I was very, very good at driving. So, like I said, it's just like going to court. I'm very, very good at it because I did it so often.
Yeah.
You know, and I got the rule books, you know, at a very young age. I found out the New York State codes, you know, when it came to 1972, I saw something in the newspaper, and it said that corporal punishment has been eliminated as a source of punishment to be administrated from any further New York State teacher or like administrative staff, but it's lawful for the parents to hit their children. So that's what got me into it. Was 1972. People say to me, "What got you into it?" It's like when I saw this newspaper article, because everybody read newspapers when we were kids. Everybody got the daily newspaper come to the house, and when I saw that it said it's illegal for New York State administrators and teachers, and to administer corporal punishment upon the student body, like that legal part of it was 20 words long, and then the lawful part, it's lawful parents to hit the kid, was 2-3 words long. It's like, wait a second, why is this? This is the same thing that I learned when the judge told me in North Carolina. He said, what were you charged with? He said, added an artificial heat source to speed the fermentation of an alcoholic beverage without a federal permit. He said, that's right.
Yeah.
For what? Moonshine. So the law would be moonshine, and the legal version would be adding an artificial heat source to speed the fermentation of an alcoholic beverage without a federal permit. That was the actual literal charge that was on our paper. They could have just wrote moonshine. They could have just wrote moonshine. No, they wrote the whole entire, definition out, basically the charge. So that's when I realized when I was a kid, why is it illegal to hit a kid? No, they didn't say anything about hitting a kid. They said striking a member of the student body by any officio or any officiating or any teaching staff, faculty member of the New York State Teaching Association. Why? Look at this. Why didn't they just say it's illegal to hit kids, but parents can still hit their kids? It's like, why didn't they just make it teachers can't hit, but parents can? Because obviously the legals must mean something different than the law. So that's what really piqued my curiosity when I was a kid. When I just saw the newspaper article, it was ridiculously long what was illegal, but it's incredibly short what was lawful. So it's like, lawful, what's the difference here? And then it was like I said, they had corporal punishment when I was a kid. Some kids that I used to get into fights with at least once a day, a family. They were three sons, and every day. And like I said, I remember the principal would paddle them to such an extent that they could not bend their legs. They could not bend to sit on the seat on the ride home. And they had to do the old strap hangers. They had to hold on to the straps. And every time the bus or train, whatever, hit a bump, the kids would just burst out crying. They'd try to play tough guy, not cry, but they would just start squealing like little girls. It's like, wow, these bullies turned into little candy asses, those got their asses. Man, the principal must have really put a lick into them to make them, bleed like they're bleeding. So that terrified me that a teacher or principal could hit me to that extent, that I could not bend my legs. So man, I was terrified. I mean, they kept me in total terror. I was such a great student up until 1972, and once I realized the difference between legal and lawful, and they could no longer administrate corporal punishment, whatever that meant, I realized the hitting days were over. Oh man, it was like, I just, like, hallelujah, like the chains would break loose, and now I could be an asshole. That I've been an asshole my whole life, but I had to contain myself in school because I don't want my ass beat by these teachers. I could do whatever I want. Holy crap, this is great. I could basically tell the teacher to go F himself. There's not a damn thing he could do about it. If he can't hit me no more, oh, hallelujah, I've just been afraid to get my ass kicked. But now they can't do it no more. Holy cow, like freedom at last. Now I could be me. When you see something legal, it's extremely, like, convoluted and a lot of words. And like the judge in North Carolina taught me, he says, look, son, if they really wanted you, if they really wanted you to find you guilty and throw you in jail, he said they would have charged you with a robbery, theft, murder, kidnapping, assault. He said they would have made it a one word. He said they would have not allowed a loophole in there. He said they would have made it crystal clear that they wanted you to sit in jail. He said, but when they said add an artificial heat source, speed the fermentation, alcohol, out of federal, he said, obviously, if you had a lawyer worth a damn, he would have just got the loophole, and he said you would have got out of here. He said, but he said the loophole is artificial. He said you just should have said a natural heat source. He said that's just one off the top of the head. And that's all I'm doing with you guys. I'm doing exactly what that judge in North Carolina did. I said, look, just off the top of my head, what were you charged with? This is what you're charged with. Okay, go in there and tell the judge you did this. You didn't do this, you did that. Yes, you did something. Yes, it might be considered wrong or illegal or unlawful, but that's not what I'm charged with. I'm charged with this, not that.
Do you remember this clueless sheriff who was involved in getting a man arrested for posting a meme? Allow me to refresh your memory, because there's now an update.
He's been here for 35 days.
35 days? Over a meme?
So here's the meme in question. More will be explained about it in a bit. There are a lot of exceptions to free speech. The most relevant one here is what is called a true threat. The Supreme Court has said that true threats are not protected by the First Amendment because there's a need to protect people from fear of violence and to prevent the disruption that the fear causes and to protect from the possibility that the threats will actually happen. A true threat is essentially a statement that frightens someone into believing that they will be seriously harmed. Speech will not be protected if the person consciously disregarded a substantial risk that their communications would be viewed as threatening violence. However, political hyperbole does not count as a true threat. Take the case of Watts versus US, where a man said, quote, "I have already received my draft classification. I am not going. If they ever make me carry a rifle, the first man I want to get in my sights is LBJ." The Supreme Court ruled that this was political hyperbole and was not a true threat, and thus was protected speech. The court will look to factors like the context of the speech, the conditional nature of the supposed speech, the conditional nature of the supposed threat, and the reaction of the recipients or listeners. Are the people laughing? Are they taking it seriously? Etc. To me, the Watts case seems more like a true threat than the Facebook meme here. And the speech in the Watts case is considered protected, so keep that in mind as you continue to watch. There are other speech exceptions like fighting words and incitement to violence that I won't get into because the true threats doctrine is the one that seems the most salient to me.
And was considered threatening.
Apparently, this meme was posted as part of a discussion about Charlie Kirk's assassination. The man who posted it is a frequent memer and political poster, I guess. It was a Trump quote after a shooting in Perry, Iowa. The sheriff claims that some people in his community took it as a threat related to their high school, Perry County High School in Tennessee. I'll link more news reports in the description if you want more details on this. Do I really need to even explain how ridiculous this is? And just because you have a warrant or something like that doesn't make your actions justified. Any cop involved in this man's arrest should be ashamed of themselves. Just following orders is not an excuse. This absolutely makes my blood boil. And this will chill speech in Tennessee, if not elsewhere too. Should I even be posting this video? Is the government going to consider my words here a true threat and arrest me? This has far-reaching implications beyond just this individual man. This will chill speech beyond just him, especially because it seems to me that the government and the cops here are totally disregarding the law. They don't care what the Supreme Court has said about free speech. They're still going to arrest you.
No one even replied to that one meme. No one said this is a threat against our school. No one even mentioned it.
And the sheriff is claiming this all could have been avoided if the man had just deleted his free speech, if he would have just deleted the meme in question. Ah yes, blame the victim. It's all this guy's fault. Clearly no one else is to blame for this.
Whenever we sent Lexington Police Department out to speak to him, and he refused to do that, I mean, what kind of person does that? What kind of person just says he don't care?
What kind of person arrests somebody for protected speech? A tyrant, that's who. So don't you dare lecture us on what kind of person does this. This guy's priorities and mindset are all messed up. This guy should not be in law enforcement. He doesn't care about individual rights or individual liberty or the Constitution. What a joke.
Well, in TCA's eyes and our state legislatures that's put this law forth that come out July 1st, 2024, says otherwise.
Really? Is that what the law here is actually saying, or what the state legislature has said? I'm gonna post what I think is the law that he's talking about here, so take a second to pause and read it and see if you agree that even under this law's definition of things, that this guy somehow engaged in illegal conduct. Maybe there's a different law that he's citing here? I don't know. But even if the Tennessee law somehow criminalized this guy's conduct, that doesn't make it legal or legitimate because the Supreme Court has said otherwise. So I really don't care what the law says in Tennessee or what the legislature thinks or what the district attorney thinks or what the cops think. I'm really questioning whether this sheriff has actually read the law in Tennessee or whether he's actually read Supreme Court precedent on free speech. It seems doubtful that he has, and I don't think that he cares. Yet he's enforcing this stuff, or at the very least, he's overseeing people who are enforcing this. Guys, be careful. If you make a meme about this sheriff, maybe you'll get arrested. Or maybe I'll get arrested now because I made a meme about this sheriff, and I'm inciting other people to make memes about this sheriff. And it's all a true threat.
Yeah, Sheriff Weems tells me that his office did talk to DA Hans Schwindeman's office, and they signed off on the arrest, as did a judicial commissioner.
Well, looks like all the tyrants worked together on this one, from the DA's office to the cops. What a disgusting joke. This guy shouldn't be in jail in the first place, and yet he's staying there for a long time. I'm at a loss for words. And I'm not discounting the severity that's underlying things here about actual potential threats and actions regarding harm at schools. But this has nothing to do with that. This is clearly a meme, and liberty and free speech are so important. And free speech is one of the most fundamental and important rights that we have. Well, I guess according to the sheriff, we don't actually have that right. But I think people overlook why free speech is so important. I'll give you a few quotes from the Supreme Court that I think are relevant to the importance of free speech. But keep in mind, these quotes are coming from a court that I think has carved out so many exceptions to the First Amendment and infringed on our free speech in unreasonable and illegitimate ways. But in this case, at least, it seems like the man's speech is clearly protected by Supreme Court precedent. Anyways, here are those quotes. One man's vulgarity is another's lyric. Indeed, we think it is largely because governmental officials cannot make principled distinctions in this area that the Constitution leaves matters of taste and style so largely to the individual. If there is a bedrock principle underlying the First Amendment, it is that the government may not prohibit the expression of an idea simply because society finds the idea itself offensive or disagreeable. The right to think is the beginning of freedom, and speech must be protected from the government because speech is the beginning of thought. Any speech worth uttering should offend, provoke, and get people to think. Otherwise, you'll just be talking about the weather all day. And speech that criticizes the government should not be weaponized by the government to arrest the speaker. That is the domain of tyranny. And here are some troubling statistics on the viewpoint of the public regarding the First Amendment and free speech. I think these numbers are from a study maybe like a year ago or so. 1 in 3 Americans say the First Amendment goes too far. Only 1 in 4 agree the right to free speech is very or completely secure.
Yeah, there's been some very, very bad phone calls that my employees has had to endure.
Oh, boo-hoo, you received some phone calls and it's upsetting to you. I like how he's playing the victim, gaslighting himself, and trying to gaslight us. You're the tyrant here, arresting somebody for free speech. Also, pay attention to what's on his desk and what's behind his desk. That gives you a lot of insight to him as a person. Seems like he cares more about law enforcement itself and the thin blue line in police departments and sheriff's departments than people's individual rights. This guy should be nowhere near a badge and a gun. If you don't believe me, keep watching. And I don't care what your political ideology is, everyone should care about free speech. I'll defend the speech of anyone, those who disagree with me and those who agree with me. So here's the update. The charge was dropped, finally, and he was released. But this was after he spent over a month in jail and had the extreme stress of an insanely high bond and all of this looming over him. The process here is the de facto punishment. For this to even get this far is the punishment. This man was punished more for protected speech than many who commit actual crimes, and now he's filing a lawsuit. I want to see criminal charges here too, because lawsuits are never enough, and I can think of some potential crimes that were committed here. Real crimes, not fake ones like free speech. The Supreme Court has created so many carve-outs to free speech that we really don't have much that is protected. But what they have left us with isn't even protected at all because you have people like this sheriff arresting people for protected speech. Or I should say what is supposed to be protected speech, because in effect, it's not protected at all.
And meanwhile, our neighbors in western Colorado continue trying to rebuild after 2 natural disasters. Now we know President Donald Trump is denying the state's request for federal disaster relief. Back in August, the Elk and Lee fires burned in Rio Blanco County, scorching more than 150,000 acres. Then in October, severe flooding swept through La Plata and Archuleta counties following a tropical storm. If the governor's request had been granted, it would have unlocked FEMA funding to help these communities recover, but they were not. Instead, both requests were denied. Now, the White House sent me a statement. It says in part that the president responds to each request, quote, with great care and consideration, ensuring American tax dollars are used appropriately and efficiently by the states to supplement, not substitute, their obligation to respond to and recover from disasters. Today, Governor Jared Polis issued a statement saying in part, I call on the president's better angels and urge him to reconsider these requests. This is about the Coloradans who need this support, and we won't stop fighting for them to get what they deserve. The state will be appealing the president's decision.
The FBI has worked hard to make sure you haven't seen. They're from the Google Drive account of Thomas Crooks, the man who on July 13th, 2024, showed up at the Butler County, Pennsylvania fairgrounds and tried to assassinate the frontrunner, Donald Trump. That day, Thomas Crooks came within a quarter inch of destroying this country. And yet, a year and a half later, we still know almost nothing about him or why he did it.